Huzur, we've heard and we've read that we have to live in Master's will. And in bigger incidences like death, serious health, we all say it's Master's will and we accept it. But in our day-to-day life, small things don't allow us to accept His will. And there's a lot of confusion regarding that.
Well, first we have to divide it into two portions. One is on the spiritual aspect and the other is on the administrative side. So on the spiritual there should be no question. On the administration, I don't think so anybody creates that kind of a focus where he looks deep into everything. And that is why all of you are there as HODs, as Sevadars, to look into it and give the different perspectives. So definitely somebody could have a better perspective and something could be more in tune to what the Sangat needs. So sometimes in a hurry you overlook so many things. So in day-to-day life, in administrative things, you should use your own discrimination. Give your suggestions, and at the ending of the day, if he takes a decision, you follow that. And that is why we've always out here, right from the beginning I've said, spirituality, there's no question. In administration, you're most free to give your suggestions.
Thank you.
And where the spiritual aspect is concerned, also, you see, learning to stay in His will means understanding His will first. If you don't know what His will is, how will you be able to stay in His will? So it's also reaching that level of consciousness where we understand what His will is. Today everything for us is a perspective. We are searching in the dark as to what we think His will is. So again, only an elevated soul would know what that real will is and be able to stay in that. For mortal people like us, we are all sort of searching in the dark, trying to understand the why and when of this creation. Why has this happened to us? Why has this happened to somebody else?
How do we try and work at not feeling worried and not feeling, how do we make ourselves better in that sense?
Well, something which should have been a strength for us has become a weakness. What is it that separates us from the lower creatures is the sense of discrimination, vivek. Now that same vivek, which should have helped us to realize the truth, is also making us worry. Because that vivek is making us see the different aspects, the different perspectives. So knowledge, more knowledge doesn't mean better understanding. More knowledge also means more confusion. For somebody who doesn't have choices, it's very easy for him to go forward. But for us, especially those who use the intellect, we have choices. And the choices create that fear factor. What if? You see, so vivek should have been our strength, but we've turned it into a weakness by thinking too much, by questioning, and that is what confuses our thought process and makes us worry.
So we should think less? Not.
No, I think it's natural to think, because if you don't think, how will you sort of understand? How will you see what is right and wrong? That will come from the thinking faculty. But don't cross that limit. Sometimes we think too much. At the ending of the day, it is the action that is going to give you the results, not just your thought process. So up to a certain extent, think about it, then take the action, and the action will help you to decide whether it was right or wrong. It's the practice that helps us to understand. Experience teaches the young to be old and the old to be young.
Huzur, in this situation of COVID-19, how should we brace with life now and in the times to come, and how should we divide our time in terms of how to utilize that time?
Well, whether it is COVID-19 or it is anything else, basically it boils down to having a balance. Unless you have a balance in life, when the balance gets upset, then reactions start taking place. Now, all this has been created because of lack of balance from the human beings. If we had kept that balance, we would have never reached this stage. Our immune system has been compromised, our ecological system has been compromised, we've compromised everything. The biggest destroyer of nature is the human being. And because of that compromise, now we are having to step back and think as to what we should be doing. So this is the Lord's way of teaching us that, we need to step back. When was the last time we saw such clear skies? When was the last time we were able to breathe fresh air? Today at night, at least you can see the stars. Otherwise, there was a film of pollution where you didn't even get to see the stars. And if you see, it's basically in India, it is the cities which have more COVID, who have to deal with COVID rather than the rural area. And cities is because of the pollution. Delhi, Bombay, it's the level of pollution. We've destroyed the immune system, and COVID-19 is to do with the respiratory system. And so with all the pollution, the lungs have become weak and you've become prone to infection. So we need to keep that balance in life. We used to have all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So that's the balance. Child says, I want to play all the time, I don't want to study. As a parent, you'd say, well, there's a time to study and there's a time to play. So in essence, you're teaching him to keep a balance. So if we are able to bring about that balance back into our lives, 24 hours in a day, sufficient time to work, to take out time for your family, and to take out time for your spiritual side. So that's the balance we need to pull ourselves back to.
Babaji, moving forward, the kind of social interaction that we would be having, I think everybody will be second guessing how to find the right way. Is it good to keep your distance from people? How will relationships get impacted? How will work happen? What will be the effect on our personal and our professional relationships, and what's the right balance so that you can move forward in a positive manner?
Well, I don't think so. We need COVID-19 to make us think about it. Whether it's the cell phones or the iPads or the computers have already destroyed the social fabric of our society. Where do the children sit and talk? Where do the children sit and play? They are more interested in their games on the iPhone or on the computer and all that. And the art of conversation, the art of letter writing and all that has already started taking a beating. COVID-19 has just brought it to the fore as to what was already taking place. So again, it comes down to the balance that, we go to extremes. As human beings, our tendency is to go to extremes. So if somebody wants to socialize, he spends his entire evening in socializing and he doesn't give thought to anything else. On the other side, somebody who says that, no, this is not for me, he probably goes to the other extreme. So there's that quote which we use quite often in satsang, na sukh vich grihast de, na sukh shad gaya. Sukh hai vich vichar de, santa sharan pya. Neither by leaving everything, nor by indulging in everything. You have to change your mindset. And if you can change that mindset, create priorities in your life, it's not wrong to go and go to a party or go and socialize, but not every day in the week. If you're going to do it all 365 days of the year, then you've gone to another extreme. So keep that balance where, yes, there are times when you can go and socialize, but there should be times when you spend time with the family, you spend time in reflection, in introspection, and are able to take positive steps rather than just, today we've reduced ourselves to reacting to life. We are not living life. We need to understand how to live life. not just react to circumstances. We are reacting to each other, we are reacting to our needs, to our desires, to each other, and life has become one big reaction. We need to bring back that objectivity, where we understand that this is what I need to do and this is what I'm going to do, rather than just reacting to circumstances.
Babaji, there is such a small difference between your instinct, between your emotional reaction, and between cerebrally how you interpret a situation. How do you find the right, how do you understand which one of those is the right way forward? Is there any way of understanding that?
See, the way we behave or the way we react today is all based on our past experience. Mind is like a computer. The way the computer works is everything is based on the input. So whatever you have fed in into the computer, the output is based on that. So if I have fed in negativity, the output is going to be negative. If I fed in positivity, I'm going to get a positive output. Now sometimes logically you understand that this is the right thing to do. But being creatures of habit, we tend to react in a particular manner. We know it's not right, but we still react in that manner. Because that is the input that has taken place over a period of time. So unless we don't change that, and unless we don't put in positivity into ourselves, and we get into an objective state of mind, we will still react based on the input.
Is there a way of dealing with a situation that you're not comfortable in? How do you deal with it? Because you're surrounded with a feeling of not being where you want to be.
Don't be in a hurry to take a step forward. Just delay taking a decision. Think about it carefully. There's no harm in talking it over with somebody and then seeing what is the right way to go forward. Partly it is, life has become so fast, and when you're going fast, you have to take quick decisions. And that's where the mistakes take place. Whereas if we step back, think about it carefully, sleep over it, we probably would be in a better position to decide what is right and what is wrong.
Babaji, in each of us there is a conscience, which is anything that we want to do, it always tells us, instinctively tells us what is right and wrong. And we can ignore what it tells us is right and do the wrong thing. So is that conscious inside us, is that the voice of God?
No. Voice of God, I think, saints tried to make it easier for us and used these terms. Like when you talk to a child, you use a little story to explain certain things to him. And you generalize. You would tend to take many things for granted. But your inner voice will never tell you anything wrong. And that inner voice means the creative power or the Shabad. That can never tell you wrong. What we are listening to are so-called intuition or whatever we may call it. Now, in the physical, our intuition is born out of our past experiences, as I gave the example of the computer, based on the input which we have put into our mind. So today we are reacting, and the input is the basis of our decision-making process. Whereas through the meditative process, if we are able to rise above the needs of the physical and go into the spiritual, then we would be in a better position to be more objective and listen to that inner voice, or what we call the voice of God, the Shabad.
In addition to that now, so it's not the voice of God, but it's a guiding force telling us what is right and wrong. So let's say there's a person who all his life has done the right thing, what the conscience has told them that this is the right way, and he's followed it all his life. But he's never had the good fortune to come on a spiritual path with a master. He lived a very straight life. Whereas another person who has followed the wrong road, what the conscience was telling him, and did wrong things, even committed heinous crimes, but came on the path. And who's better off in life, ultimately?
everything is based on the law of karma. You see? So, your karmas are going to dictate everything. Karmas form your destiny, your kismat, nothing else. Now, if your karmas have been such, you could be on a spiritual path, you could have, heard satsang every day. But if your karmas are such, those karmas are going to decide your future. So if somebody, whether he's at the feet of a master or not at the feet of the master, it's the karmas that will dictate at the ending of his life what his future is going to be. Nothing else. Coming to the feet of a master means that you are willing to learn. Now, you can get admission into the best school, but if you don't study out there, that's not going to make you pass. Taking initiation means you've enrolled yourself into the best possible school, but now your input has to be there. You have to study to pass that exam. So if you have taken Naam, you've come into a spiritual realm, but you've not made use of it, you have not put it into practice. I mean, the person who's put it into practice is far better off than somebody who's not put it into practice, because you have not made use of the environment that you were blessed with.
I don't know, can I ask another question, Hari? In this life, does one start one's spiritual progress from where one left off in the previous life, or it's a restart all over again?
It's a difficult question to answer, but I think for us it is fair to say that we should think that we start afresh. Because your past, whatever you've gone through, plus, minus and all, like I said, it's your karmas that dictate your future. So whatever is the sum total of your karmas, that has created your destiny. Destiny puts you into a certain situation, and that situation will give you negative as well as positive, and then it's all about making the right choice.
As we believe that everything is destined for us, so we do constantly have to make choices. Does our destiny sort of push towards those things where we make those choices according to our destiny, or we have a part of discrimination, as you say?
See, as I was explaining earlier, that our memory or the mind is like the memory of a computer. It is very impressionable. It has sort of picked up impressions throughout our life, positive, negative, good, bad. Your destiny will put you into a situation. How you react to that situation now is dependent upon the choices you make. Ever since we've come into this creation, we've exercised our right to choose. We made wrong choices, that's why we are stuck in Karam Kand. If we have made the right choices, we won't be here.
But a lot of times, Babaji, we believe that our destiny drove us to make a certain choice.
No.
It's not like
No,
that.
I don't think so. We should justify that.
Ji.
It's like playing cards.
Ji.
When you play cards, you can't choose the cards.
Ji.
The hand is dealt out to you.
Ji.
Now, you could have a wonderful hand, make the wrong choices and lose the game. And you could have a terrible hand, make the right choices and win the game. So no matter what your destiny is, now it depends upon the choices you make. You make the right choices, you can turn it around and benefit. But you could have a wonderful hand, make wrong choices in life and lose that.
Thank you.
Today, don't we think that we are making the choices? I mean, there is a level of consciousness where he will sort of do everything for us, but today we are making the choices. We haven't reached that level of consciousness or gone above the physical where we actually believe that he's making. When he makes the choices, he will take the responsibility. That is why part of the spiritual aspect is to teach us how to stay in his will. Tera pana meetha lage. But how many of us are willing to accept that? Today we are not able to accept. For us, we make choices that this is good for me, this is bad for me. But if we were able to accept his will, there is no question of good or bad. We would accept everything. We won't say it's hot outside or we won't say it's cold outside. That's part of nature, we would accept it. ठीक है. That's what the Lord wants. But today we make choices. The moment you start putting everything into this thing, this is good, this is bad, I like this, I don't like this, that is the choice.